Hi, and welcome to Plane Legacy. I'm Bill, and today we're looking at a ground attack fighter variant of the MiG-17. Stick around to see what small modifications made this aircraft just a little different from the standard MiG-17. Plane Legacy is all about the less common aircraft, which is somewhat subjective. What one person knows about, another may not. Today's aircraft is the Polish, license-built derivative of the Mikoyan-Gureyovich MiG-17. Actually, the Polish variant of the MiG-17 was known as the Lim-5, Lim being an abbreviation of a phrase that translates to licensed fighter, so the licensed fighter number 5. The license-built MiG-17, or Lim-5, introduced in 1956, was Poland's principal fighter jet for a large part of the Cold War. The Lim-6 was a modified variant of the Lim-5, or MiG-17. You can tell me in the comments if you think the MiG-17 qualifies as a commonly known aircraft or not, but this derivative of the MiG-17 may not be as widely known. The differences are slight, but Plane Legacy showcases less widely known aircraft filmed at museums and attempts to highlight their legacy. Like the Lim-5, the Lim-6 replaced the Lim or Lim-1 and Lim-2, itself a licensed-built copy of the MiG-15. These licensed-built copies of Soviet MiGs were produced by PZL, also referred to as WSK, a name preferred during the Stalinist era in Poland, and they were produced in the industrial city of Mielec. In 1963, PZL settled on a design known as the Lim-6bis, which I'm going to mostly refer to as the Model 6 for clarity. The Model 6 variant was built to serve as a ground attack fighter. It strongly resembles the standard MiG-17, or Model 5, and served as the most numerous Polish attack aircraft from its introduction in 1964 until the 1980s. However, Model 6s were serving until after the breakup of the Soviet bloc countries, being removed from service in Poland in 1992. It is a single-seat aircraft, 37 feet 3 inches long, with a wingspan of 31 feet 7 inches and a height of 12 feet 6 inches. The Model 6 shared the same fuselage, wings, canopy, T-tail, and undercarriage of the standard MiG-17, or Lim-5. Their single engine was the WSK LIS-5 turbojet engine with 7,400 pounds of thrust, which itself was a licensed-built derivative of the Soviet VK-1F, which was the engine used in the MiG-17. The LIS-5 turbojet provided similar performance, not surprisingly, to the standard MiG-17 with a top speed of 710 miles per hour. Sources give its service ceiling as just over 54,000 feet and a range of 580 miles. Like the standard MiG-17 or Lim-5, the Lim-6 was armed with one 37mm cannon and two 23mm cannon. One of the small differences between the Model 6 and the standard MiG-17 is that the Model 6 had 4 underwing weapons pylons instead of 2. I understand that Egyptian and possibly Cuban license-built MiG-17s may also have had an extra pylon under each wing. The wing stores for the Model 6 BIS included 57mm S-5 rockets, bombs, or napalm for ground attack missions, though fuel tanks were often carried on the outboard pylons for extended range. The other noticeable difference between the Model 6 and a standard MiG-17 was the inclusion of a braking parachute placed below the rudder, seen in these images, which I filmed at the Maps Air Museum, and compared with a standard MiG-17, which I filmed at the National Museum of the United States Air Force. The addition of a braking parachute provided flexibility as an attack aircraft, enabling the Model 6 to land on shorter and less prepared runways and not just long concrete runways. This Model 6 aircraft is shown in fall camouflage markings and sports the Polish checkerboard insignia. Poland is said to have exported the Model 6 to East Germany, Egypt, and Indonesia. The PZL Mielec Lim-6bis Fresco featured in today's episode can be found at the Maps Air Museum located in Greene, Ohio, next to the Akron-Canton Airport. The museum states their exhibit was built as a Lim-6 before being upgraded to the Lim-6bis specification and was delivered to the 51st Fighter Ground Attack Aviation Regiment on April 8, 1963. It remained in service until the 22nd of June, 1988. The museum acquired the aircraft in the early 1990s. See the link in the description to learn more about this aircraft and the museum that maintains it. The MiG-17F featured in today's episode can be found at the National Museum of the United States Air Force, having been donated to the museum by the Egyptian Air Force in 1986. While the MiG-17 flew with at least 20 nations, this exhibit is painted in the markings of the North Vietnamese Air Force, representing the many MiG-17s that faced off against U.S. aircraft during the Vietnam War. Thank you for watching today's episode, and if you enjoyed seeing the Lim-6bis and its counterpart, the MiG-17, please consider giving a like to the episode. To see more of the uncommon vintage aircraft covered on Plane Legacy, check out earlier episodes on the channel. You can subscribe to be notified of upcoming episodes and share this episode with your aviation and history-minded friends. And we'll see you next time right here on Plane Legacy.